Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about Nemo's War. This is a quick overview that I'm wanting to do, not diving in depth. There is a lot of depth to this game, as you can probably see right here from the rule book. It's a decently in-depth game, but it is one that I have really been enjoying myself as well. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about this. Okay, so Nemo's War, you are Nemo, you are the captain of the Nautilus right here. Hopefully you can see that okay. Really fun pieces. The board is amazing. All the pieces and everything can feel very overwhelming, but once you kind of get the idea of what you're doing, there's a lot of things that you really don't use very often, and so checking back in the rules occasionally is definitely something that you will probably have to do through the first game quite a bit, as I have, and there's a lot of different things. It's probably best just to dive on into it and say it's okay to make some mistakes and figure out, how to do different things. But there's a lot on the board, I think, that really helps out. So you have a turn sequence right here, you have combat sequence right here, ship placement priority, removing uprising cubes. I know there's a lot of stuff to try and keep track of. You've got different motives right here that give you various points depending on your motive. One of 4 motives is Captain Nemo. Adventure cards set the story that you're doing. You're moving around, attacking ships, exploring all sorts of different crazy things, upgrading the Nautilus. So there's a lot to do in this game, which is one thing I really, really like. I think there's enough options without being too terribly many. So actions, you can adventure, attack, insight, move, rest, repair, refit, or search for treasure. So there's 8 total actions that you can do within your turn. You've got your action counter right here. And I think that's really a neat piece of this game. Over here you've got this big section here that you can look and see what the costs are when you're rolling the dice. You roll dice an awful lot for all sorts of things, and so you may have everything kind of lined up correctly, and then you might just have a bad roll. And there's some ways to kind of offset that a little bit with this up here. You can kind of gamble some of these different Nemo crew or hull token things here, and then they'll move down if you get something, if you lose what you ended up gambling. So overall, this game is really enjoyable. I love the theme and the feel of just the story moving around, and you've got some little bits of the story as you grab these different event cards each turn and you read those. Really, really fun to see the pass and fail things that you do, what decisions you make about where you go, what your next thing is going to be, especially depending on your motives. Because sometimes you're going to, like this one, you get negative points actually for sunken warships that you put down in here. And so you actually don't want to attack warships as the explorer. You want to see wonders, you want to discover science, like all sorts of different things. You're specifically seeking out different things depending on your motivation. So here's one motivation here, the explorer. Anti-imperialism is another one, and there's another tile like that that's got 2 more on it. So there's a lot going on, and I would definitely recommend finding a video out there that's got decent rules in it. But I just wanted to give you guys a little overview of what I've seen from looking at this. There's a few other things that I mean, there's a lot that I haven't really mentioned at all, but that's just a quick overview of this game, some of the things that you'll be doing, and once you get the hang of it, it's really, really fun. I love also, this is a solo game. It's built as a solo game, but you can play a couple of different ways. You can play cooperatively with up to 4 players, which I think is really fun, being able to do that and just bring people together, try and make decisions, and be a cooperative game, trying to do the best you can, and honestly just keep track and like muddle through the rules and things together too, I think is something that I'd prefer, as opposed to just trying to figure all of it out myself and just mentally getting exhausted, like reading through the rule book and looking for different rules and things like that, I think is awesome being able to do that with someone else. So overall, this has been a great experience, but definitely a learning curve to get to know this game, and I still feel like there's a lot that I'm learning in this as well. So there's a lot of cards you don't even use, and so it's got some really nice replayability, especially with the differing motivations. So I am really, really enjoying this game. It's one that I will, because it's such a long, in-depth game, probably not pull out all the time, but definitely one that I could see myself pulling out fairly frequently when I get that itch for just exploring and that kind of a thing. So I love the theme, love the artwork, all sorts of different things. It feels like a wonderfully fun game just to pull out and be able to play, and I love that it also accommodates solo play as well as a pretty good play for multiple people cooperatively as well. So I think that's really enjoyable. So hopefully that has given you guys just a quick touch and a taste. I know that's a lot, but hopefully that's given you a quick touch and a taste of what this game is, what it does, and why it may or may not be right for you. Thanks.